Okay, folks, welcome back. Back to the antics of putting the separate link track on this Hetzer, which the problem isn't separate link track. The problem was this separate link track. There's a difference. And, oh, this is totally cattywampus. Okay. Get my instructions here and figure out where the hell we left off at. Okay. I kind of had to stop in the middle of something. Okay. This one goes here. Let's go back to Mr. Barnes. Welcome back. The man who never sleeps. Sorry, I assumed your gender. That was something that we did, and I will continue to do, is assume people's gender. Okay. Now, this is not a very good kit. It's not. The plastic is odd. It's worn out. It's got good details in some places, and some places not so good. So, you had a granddad knot. Excellent. This week I've had a lot of trouble staying asleep. There's been several times this week. There we go. This ended up like not sitting on there correctly. Several days this week, including last night, I wake up at like 2 o'clock in the morning just for no reason. Okay, so that's where we're left off there. This piece goes here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know, if I want to add some, I want to add them at the idler in the back. I don't want to add them at the front because then I don't have to fight with the sprocket, the teeth. There's no teeth on the back. So let's build these guys right here. I couldn't be more ready for the weekend if I tried. I think I messed up my foot at work yesterday. School's out for summer. I hate that song now. I actually like it. Well, I don't like the weather that's during that time, but I don't have to fight as much traffic in the morning. That's for sure. That's the two guys that I get mixed up as Ozzy and Alice Cooper. One bit the head off a pigeon and one ate a chicken or something like that. I don't know. Crazy, crazy mothers. Yeah, this is the problem with this, is I can push it up against it, but because of the shape of it, it won't lay correctly. So instead of being able to place it next to it, I can't. See, what if I flipped it? Would that work? Let's think outside the box. See if that is better. No. No, it's the same old nonsense. Hey, Nordic. I messed up my foot. And I think I messed up my foot at work. I think I was flexing my foot underneath my desk for a really long time at work. And I'm having trouble walking on it. But as soon as I take pressure off of it, I don't feel anything. So I know, and there's no swelling. So it'll probably just take a couple days to. I'm gonna take it easy this weekend. I'm gonna try to go outside the least amount of time possible. But other than that, I'm great. It's a hell of a lot better than having a headache. I mean, there's no question about it. I can deal with this. But one of the nights, not last night, but the night before, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Couldn't go to sleep for, no, it was actually at 2. I couldn't go to sleep for an hour. I almost said, F it, I'm going to go and have a hobby morning. And I would have done it if it was the weekend. Because then I could take a granddad nap, you know? But not during the regular day. So I got approximately a week to myself. You guys are going to be seeing more of me. The girls are out of town. They're out of state. For about a week. How many we got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It makes sense. We have 3 left over. I'm going to put them by themselves. We're going to adjust off the rear. I don't want to mess with the sprockets. That's going to be extra. Had that happen a few times. Having one of my bad days with your intestinal BS. Is that curable, or you just... That's like your psoriasis. You're gonna have it the rest of your life. Everybody's got something. I feel like I've had this happen before on my foot. Not curable. Have to deal with this for the rest of your life. Oh, man. When did you first get it? Is it something that manifested itself when you hit 18 or something like that? Well, everybody's at Historicon. Everybody that's at Historicon is at Historicon. And I'm not really jealous. I'm fine not going, honestly. I didn't have to do 30 hours in the freaking car. The least of my worries is the expense of going to it. I mean, not that I'm made of money, but that part's actually fun. You know, the drive's actually probably the second least problem. But taking off from work and the days, and I mean, that's why I didn't go. I just don't have the days to. And if we end up moving, I really won't have the days. That's 4. Woke up today feeling under the weather. Allergies and sinuses are in uproar as well. Oh man, you need like an extra hit of medication. General anesthesia for you. Had it for a few years before it was diagnosed, and oh, so it's relatively recent. And I mean, 2015 is relatively recent. Hot blonde or hot? Pretty soon, the Russians are going to be a lot cheaper. They're going to want to get out of there. Might get a good deal on a used Russian one. I had this contractor we used to do business with, and some things will happen a long time ago, and they'll stick in your mind. And one of these things that stuck in my mind was that he had actually gotten a Russian mail order bride, and this was 20 years ago. And he says, "You know what the secret to it is?" And I said, "No, I don't know." I said, "Well, you got to make sure that there's a picture of her smiling. Otherwise, got teeth issues, or none at all, or." I said, "Okay, I'll take that into consideration." Unintelligent. You think that there's people actually out there that pretend to act dumb? I find that hard to believe that anybody would want to act like they're less intelligent than they really are. Somehow that's some kind of an appeal. I don't like talking to dumb people, even if I'm interested in them or not. This will work, but it'll just end up taking a lot longer than it should. Imagine if somebody tried to put this together with the old school type of cement. They don't age well, though. Yeah. Is that the drinking? That's one thing I do have in my court. The people in my family, we do age well. Well, I want to get this guy done because I want to start on the next thing, and I know what it's going to be. Just saying. I do think that is the case. I know some intelligent individuals who hide their intelligence, especially around lesser. Really? That's counter. That's counter everything. And there's just some people that are programmed differently that I don't really want to hang around just because they don't process things the same way I do. Abstract thinkers and stuff like that. I'm not an abstract thinker. Okay, I'll need to let that sit for a little bit. So then the big one comes in. Do all the time. Deal with low intelligence. What is your next vehicle? I don't know. You have to stick around. At this rate, there won't be one. This is going to consume so much damn time. And it's all because there's no point. There's no connection points. I think, before I get further along, I know that we're going to have a hard stop here. Yeah, it's a terrible system. It's probably, a Mark 1 separate link track. And there's no way a 14-year-old can do this. There's no way. We do have those. Okay. This is going to go here. And you can't do this without the tweezers. It's actually okay. The fact that it stays connected, I mean, I did the other side and it actually looks really good. It just shouldn't be this difficult. My experience with mom building probably refuse to get a kit with tracks like that or aftermarket and get better set. That track's annoying me and I'm not building it. I know, but there is something about it that's empowering. I mean, I won't build another one. I'm like, do you want to, an SU hat? I'm like, no, we're good. But I mean, I have it, so what am I going to do? Throw it away? I actually had a friend of mine he was building an army in 15 millimeter. And I've said this story before, so it's kind of a memorable one. And he had this army that we're going to build together for DBA. And at the time, he was in Korea, stationed in Korea. And he's like, hey, let's pick up a couple of these armies and then we'll pick Hungarian allies. We're going to do later polls with Hungarian allies. And it was a Polish company at the time called Ozmiel Ozmi. And they're still in business. They sold these particular molds off the Fighting 15s, I think. But they made 15 millimeter figures, Poles and Teutonic Knights for the Battle of Tannenberg, 1410. The battle where the Poles beat the crap out of the Teutonic Knights. Also named Battle of Grunwald. That's the Polish name. So I'm like, all right. We go and we order these figures. Polish figures, and they're nice looking figures. Polish figures from Poland for a Polish army. Later Polish army. So we get them. And they're relatively new figures. And they have more flash than we're used to. So they require cleanup. But the bad part is the metal that they used. The alloy is so hard. It's almost as hard as this. And I made a joke that, yeah, they melted down some T62s and that's what they used to put them in there. They either couldn't be cleaned up the mold lines, or you had to put so much horsepower behind scraping it off that you're going to injure yourself. Which is, people always say, what's more dangerous, a sharp knife or a dull knife? And it's a dull knife. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Well, you have to put so much horsepower behind the dull knife that, if you miss it, you end up cutting yourself. And it was the same thing. It's just, you had to put so much effort behind it. It was a problem. So what he ended up doing, it pissed him off so much, he threw them in a dumpster. They're in a dumpster in Korea. He's not dealing with them anymore. I ended up selling mine on eBay. The figures were nice, but you just couldn't clean them up. 2-part horses and stuff. Fighting 15s had them last time I saw them. But I can now say I'm not in the know of 15 millimeter figures. Hey, shit happens. What's that wise guy said? Can't be into everything. So, yeah, I had to kind of organize this room for pictures. Do you remember what kind of X-Acto blade replacements you got on Amazon? Absolutely. If I were to go, you got a few hundred for a great price, I do. Yep. And normally I'm not in favor of buying Chinese shit. But here's the problem. When you buy stuff on Amazon that's called X-Acto, you end up getting, it's not Amazon's fault. They don't police all this stuff, which I guess is Amazon's fault. They just don't have the manpower to do that. I don't want to pay and get fucking Chinese shit anyway, so you might as well just go ahead and buy Chinese shit. Nick Pro. And these were less than $10 for 120 of them. And they're just as good as X-Acto knife ones. They come in they come in a case that, I mean, I've been pretty wasteful with them, and I got 75% of them. Yeah, you can't go wrong with these. 120 pack SK5 high carbon steel, and the tips actually last longer than the X-Acto knife ones. So anyhow, I recommend them. These are the ones that's what I'm using now. I'd wanted to buy X-Acto knife blades, but you go to the store and they want like $7 for like 5 or something like that. I'm like, come on, man, that's absurd. And I got them from Amazon. My favorite vendor. And I did order the Tamiya clippers. Should be in tomorrow. Yeah, you can try it. If I don't like it, I'll just return it. It's, if Amazon was a pain in the, if Amazon was around in the 90s, right? If Amazon was around in the 90s and you had to return something, returning things in the 90s was a pain in the ass. I wouldn't do any business with them. Okay? And I don't return things at Amazon often, because I'm really careful, which one I get. But sometimes you get a dud or sometimes you screw up. So having a return policy, I don't want to use it and then be like, this isn't what I wanted. Like return a half-eaten sandwich or some shit like that, okay? I'm not one of those kind of people. But, if you send me crap, I need to be able to send it back. And Amazon makes it really easy, at least for us in the States, to return things. You just go to this department store called Kohl's. You don't even have to prepackage everything. You don't have to go to the post office. If you had to go to the post office, forget it. I'm not dealing with Amazon. But you go to stores and they don't have it there. So you go to another one and they don't have it there, or they're out of it. And you go to another one and and it's just like you waste a lot of fuel, time. You're frustrated. I'd rather buy it at the store, but the stores just don't have anything anymore. Tell me about it. I did find Hobby Lobby sold some X-Acto blades for $3, but you only get 5. I'll wait my opinion on the clippers. I'll tell you what it is. Don't ask me what my opinion is, because I'll tell you. And you don't have to agree with me, You don't have to agree with me, but I got a clue. I don't want to be sponsored by anybody. If they send me crap, I want to tell you guys, dude, don't buy this stuff. I don't care if they gave me something free, and I don't want to be put in that situation. I don't need free shit. I was watching this one guy that I watch occasionally that has a game YouTube channel, and he was talking about something that the Federal Trade Commission just passed recently, where you have to disclose if you're getting stuff free. And I guess there was a big stink. Not necessarily that this person had a problem with it, but just the other people are doing reviews and stuff and are getting free stuff, and they're not disclosing that they are. I'm like, well, that's dirty. I can't do shit like that. I'm just, I speak my mind too often to be able to, get caught in a lie if I try to pull a fast one on somebody. It just isn't worth it. If you just tell the truth, you don't have any problem keeping your lies straight, because there aren't any. Which is why I hate saying, and I do it all the time, to be honest with you. And it's just habit saying that, just like I had an English teacher in 8th grade that had this thing that would always say, or what have you. It was just but I'm always being honest with you guys. It's just, it'd be stupid not to. Okay, we need to keep this from moving and somehow scooch this over. Come on. Yeah, this thing's pretty incorrigible. But of all the separate link tracks I've done, this is by far, I mean, it's not even close. This is the worst one. I mean, it's not even close. Okay, well, I'm actually going to change my opinion on something, and I'm actually going to pull this out because I need to be able to have better access to bind this together. I'm struggling with this so much, you're going to need a drink. I've actually manhandled it quite a bit, and it's held together pretty well. So once it gets to where it needs to be, it's all right. I mean, it's going to end up being okay. It's just I should have been done with this thing plenty of time ago, and I don't care that it's crinkled a little bit. We'll straighten that out on there. All right, we need to do this one. And the other one, and then we'll put it back on again. What amount do you need to get hit free shipping? Well, I have Amazon Prime, so generally I don't pay shipping on it. It's generally free. It's what I end up having to do is I have to hit sometimes $25 to be able to get it next day. You stop Prime. Oh, well, we use it for all kinds of other stuff. Shows. We don't have cable or anything. So Amazon's one of those things where you can watch, the girls can watch shows and stuff. I got nothing bad to say about Amazon. Now Walmart, I hate Walmart. And you know, all the companies now seem like they suck. Every one of them. You know, corporations, they're all terrible. They're not all just about making money. They're about, you know, getting away with stuff. Every single one of them. I swear that wasn't the case. Or maybe it just didn't get reported or you know, maybe there was some honest ones and now it's just out of control. Pour you a glass of fine bourbon, okay? I'll have a drink in a little bit. Just for yucks. Just because we still can. I can't believe alcohol was illegal at one point. That's just absurd. That's just beyond absurd. And drinking is not an important part of my life. It really is not. Drunken model building. Well, I gotta wait until I'm done with this. I can't do this drunk or intoxicated. or even happy. This is some serious life-changing shit right here. Let's stuff this thing underneath here. "14-year-old my ass." Especially the 14-year-olds now. They all got ADD, ADHD, all kinds of stuff. I think somebody needs to take a belt to them. Go mow some lawns and get a belt whooping. That'll straighten your shit out. Speaking of interesting things outlawed, did you know the Pope outlawed the crossbow at one point? Yeah, screw that guy. Yeah, only he was allowed to have them. We'll get this. It's just taking a lot longer than it really should. And I've already done the unboxing video on this, the first part. So I just gotta do the after part. Same thing with the white scout car. So that way I can warn people, hey, you know, don't get this. The tracks are just, you know, if you don't have the patience of a saint, you're gonna wish your dad had used a condom. Because this is just, this is something else. This is something else. Okay, I think I actually had this pretty well how I want them. So I'm actually going to go ahead and glue this puppy down in here. I know I was talking about, I was going to use this opportunity of the girls not being here to figure out how to stream something, but I'm like, I don't need to play no games. This is a lot more fulfilling. Tracks for the Tacom 135th Hetzer with full interior look to be really good. Look at the kit, and it's definitely worth the $40 price tag. Well, if the Tacom is anything like Trumpeter, you know, the Chinese can make some good stuff if they frickin' feel like it. You know, the S model stuff is really, really good. Really, really good. Ah, Snapdragon. There we go. Fix that. $40 doesn't seem to be too expensive. I mean, you know, it is, but how much enjoyment are you gonna? You know what? In that case, this would be really cheap because I've spent a lot of time building this, but it hasn't been enjoyable. And it hasn't been horrible either. But it does beg you to answer, what did I do wrong? All right. Let's see if we can get away with lifting this any little bit. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So my only concern here is going to be, do I have enough little links to go around this? because I have no more. And I have, I have 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 12. Is 12 enough to do this? Well, let's see. The distance is greater than this one. It's going to be close. So I think what I'm going to do is, let me see what these are used for. And we're going to modify one of these and make like an intermediate piece. Okay, they're not here. Okay, you can use them for extra track there. I'm not worried about it. I got extra. All right, I'm going to take one of these. Tecom is better than Trumpeter. Both have their issues, but say these edge goes, their details far. I thought the Trumpeter detail wasn't bad, so. And it depends by which one it is. But Tacom doesn't make 1/72nd. So I guess I'll never find out. Okay. I'm going to cut this in about half. I specifically enjoy doing stuff like this. And stuff like what I did with the adding all the detail to the armor fast stuff, because it's a skill that I don't have a ton of experience with models, and I definitely want to get better at it. So I've taken it as an opportunity to improve in areas where I could improve. Flyhawk, huh? There's a lot of openings in Flyhawk in ships. There's a lot of ships that they should make that they just don't make. I suspect the Tamiya ships are rather older molds. I had the Rodney, and I had the Scharnhorst at 1/700th. Relatively recent. Meaning I didn't paint it with freaking oil paints. I wasn't that childish. But to me, it was a gold standard back then. And all those companies you mentioned, they weren't around. DML was just getting on the scene. DML came out in the late 80s. And they were relatively new. And they also had the German tank fetish. Forgot where I heard this, but I heard that model builders who build strictly one scale and type of model lack a lot of skills in model building. Couldn't tell you. I still have those couple of old model building books. I'll show you those in a second once I'm done with this. Fuck that. I'm doing it right now. These old things. Old Shepherd Payne. Dating myself now. Modeling tanks and military vehicles. How cheap were these things? $8.95. There ain't no book that's $8.95 now. How to build dioramas. These things. I haven't looked at these things in 20 years. I'll tell you one thing. I can paint figures like this. I remember when I had them, like, how do you guys paint figures like this? Paint them for 30 fucking years, you'll figure it out. Here's a Brum bar right there. Brummy. I always got a kick how they took the Panzer Grenadiers and just had them pouring out of this half track. I didn't have the half track, but I had those Panzer Grenadiers. Oh, this is a quick. Where's the color version of this? This is an old book, and there's some good stuff here. Anyhow, I had those for a long time. Along with the How to Make War Games Terrain, How to Make War Games Terrain 1 and 2 from Games Workshop, and the Heavy Metal Painting Guide. Which I was watching somebody who was doing a video and was like, oh, that was the old way of painting the figures. I said, oh, okay. Whatever, you know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he used to do stuff in Fine Scale Modeler. Problem with Fine Scale Modeler is there's just a lot of subject matter that I'm just not interested in. You know, like, I don't want to build anything that's a model that doesn't have guns on it. Sorry. I'm a pacifist every day. I like military crap. So I was never interested in anything that's space program related. You know, rockets and stuff like that. Like, I've never been to Kennedy Space Center and have no interest in it. It's like, put guns on it and then maybe we can talk. But, you know, I can't be into everything. I took a trip up to the Virginia area where my wife's best friend lives, and her childhood best friend lives, and her husband was in the Navy, and he was stationed in the Pentagon, which is how we ended up being able to get a tour on that. That was pretty cool. But we ended up going to this plane museum that's not the one for the Smithsonian. It's not the one in downtown DC. It's the other one that has the weird ass freaking name. And I walk in, and the first thing that catches my eye, I'm like, holy shit, they got a P-26 pea shooter hanging from the ceiling. And I'm like, I keep rambling all this stuff off, and he's telling me, like, and he tells me, he's like, how do you know this stuff? And I'm like, how do you not know this stuff? I'm like, I used to work at a hobby store. You can't help but look at kits and, you know, and find different stuff, and, you know, and aircraft is the thing I know the least about. I know aircraft the least of tanks and ships. Why? How many airplane games have I played of World War II? I don't know that I've played one. That's how you learn stuff. Playing games. Playing historical war games. You hate Games Workshop painting style. Not a fan of the edge highlighting. Well, it's changed. It's a little different now than it used to be. I don't know. I don't like something that was kind of the rage back when I started painting figures in the mid '90s, and that was 28 millimeter, and they would do the like the foundry 3-color thing, and it works okay for some stuff, but flesh, absolutely not. You know, it's not my style. It ends up looking like a Picasso, or as one guy once put it so eloquently, it looks like a meat cutting chart. I'm like, nailed it. That's exactly what it looks like. You know, do you have Jeeps and staff cars for? Well, I have those Russian trucks I got to do. Staff cars, I've got that one horse that's ugly as shit to be repainted. The problem, I had some Kubelwagens, but they're so old and they got beat up. I have a GAZ 67 that's painted, but I don't have any standard US Jeeps. No. I have one Horch staff car. But that's it. You know, I got whatever's available. A lot of people don't build those vehicles or have them, so I can't buy them from an estate sale if the person that passed on didn't have any. And sometimes some of those things are just too expensive for what they are. Like, I love S model, but their Kubelwagens and Kettenkrads are almost cost the same as a freaking tank. And there's nothing to them. Udvar Hazy, yeah, that's the one. Crazy ass name. I think that one fit right there. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Especially like the Vietnam one, which really isn't my thing, but they had like a MiG-21 and a SAM, you know, and a 105 Thunder Chief. Almost like a diorama. Okay, this is the one that hunted the other one that had, you know, that kind of thing. And a Phantom. Well, it looks like using those bigger pieces was the way to go. Did I know that a Kursk Grossdeutschland division had a battalion of infantry in Kubelwagens and Horch cars? I did not. Like specifically in really light vehicles? Yeah, when I was building German stuff, all of my stuff I put, that was one of those divisions that I had. Well, it also helps that when you get kits, they almost always had Grossdeutschland stuff as some of the decals. And I like the little helmet. You know, it's not half bad. You just got to be able to tinker with it. It's going to go on a base too, so it's really not going to be half bad. You got the track and you got the suspension parts all messed up too. It's like it's going around a corner fast. It'll end up working. I'm ready to move on. I've spent enough time on this little bastard. So yeah, separate link track is great. This separate link track is not great. And also all the suspension parts weren't great either. Ah, the Fusilier Regiment. Bronco. What's the deal with Bronco? I've heard of them. I've heard of Bronco. Okay, it doesn't look bad from there. Doesn't look bad from there. I think we'll be just fine. Yes, that was my stomach. Okay. I'm not going to tinker with that. Yeah, the whole suspension's off. I couldn't get it right. That whole wheel thing on there, I couldn't get it right because of this being at an angle. I'm not touching it. I'm leaving it alone. It took battle damage. I'm leaving it alone. Okay, we already added this front plate, and I added that one already ahead of time for stability, just so we can have something we can count on there. Why don't the Germans make any model kits? Or the French. Was Heller French? I remember the Heller stuff was terrible. They might have some stuff out there that are good, but back in the day, the Heller stuff was just... It's like French Lindbergh. Lindbergh was terrible. Okay, 36A is this guy right here. But Revell of Germany isn't really German. I mean, some of their stuff I think is unique, but some of them they've commandeered different models. The Panzer IV that I have from them is phenomenal. Just like incredibly phenomenal. It's not my favorite vehicle. I'm not a fan of the 4H, but you know, they sure made a shitload of them. Oh, this, you got to press this down? Oh, good Lord. All right. It's at least attached to enough different spots where we can... Oh, so that goes like that. All right. Ain't no 14-year-old building this shit. Take a stupid 52-year-old to do that. That sounds old. I don't feel that old. I still feel like I'm 25. Of course, a 25-year-old wouldn't have fucked up their foot, just twisted it underneath their desk. I don't ever feel old. Go around saying, man, I'm old. I don't. Okay. That's this side. And on this side, We have its cousin piece. And it's got two knickknacks, 10A and 11A. Here they are. I don't know if I'm going to be able to put the machine guns on the roof on this thing. They are an abortion. They are truly poor. And some of the Fujimi guns are really bad. This one takes the cake. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. Yeah, see, that's the problem with modeling. Time just really flies. You know, if I was in jail and I had to go on a life sentence, like, give me some models to build. They'll be done in like no time. Okay, same thing here. All right. One of these goes there, the other one goes there. Cut this one down a little bit. Cut the peg down. So this is the you guys didn't make it to Historicon, so we're all hanging together weekend. Actually, the thing I wanted to go to Historicon for the most, I want to do another walkthrough video on the vendors. That was fun. I enjoyed that. Okay, now we can put the two pieces together. Conjoin them. And here's where I was looking at that I'm probably going to have to modify the back of this. This is where it's supposed to be. I'm going to enlarge this. Even if we have to do a little bit of gap filling. because it needs to fit over and up against it. There we go. No, still not. It's supposedly, oh, this is a really good kit from... no. This thing's not very good at all. I mean, this piece got good detail in the back of it, but this does not go together well in any shape, any way or shape or anything. I don't want to put all kinds of pressure on this and break it. I'd rather it be not glued together great at this point. And I'm not going to fool around. I'm going to super glue this thing. I cannot afford to have the suspension underneath it come undone, or the track. That's absurd at this point. Okay, I know we're going to need those two spots. I'm not sure that there's... There's too many things I got to press down on that I don't want to overpress and break them. This thing's delicate as it is. There we go. That's better. And that's better there. Put any more pressure on that. Front look okay? Ish. Yeah. Okay, anybody know any good jokes? Probably gonna make. See, this is the irony. This one has the hatches that can be made open. I'm gonna make them all closed. This is a vehicle that just needs to be hunkered down inside of. Yeah, the transmission sprocket at the front just doesn't fit well at all. I tinkered it with it a long time. I'm just gonna leave it alone. do not want this thing falling apart. It sits relatively flush, so yeah, it's this that doesn't sit. I missed that many times. Okay. Right. Is there one more page after this one? Yeah, okay. Oh my gosh, there's all kinds of shit on there. Still. Okay, I don't mind putting the hatches closed here because it does have a remote control machine gun at the top. And this is the machine gun that's just make-believe. And you can see it right here underneath the shovels. See if I can get it on the screen here. It looks more like a pipe bomb than a machine gun. But it's what I have. I'm not going to buy an aftermarket thing for it. And the two hatches are 25A and 25 and 26, which are these two guys. One of my favorite vehicles on Roll the Tank starting off is this little guy. It's got a lot of armor. Not that I play that anymore, but there are some hatches here. I see. Okay, they go towards the outside. Man, I hope they don't fall in. I hope they don't fall in. And they're not going to be flush. They're going to be sticking a little bit farther out, and I'm okay with that. Actually, not sticking up that much. And they're melting ever so slightly. Okay, there's that one. How are we on beverage? I'll be right back. Yeah, I'm not going to recommend this model. I mean, not that anybody really gives a shit about my opinion, but might as well state it. Certainly not a 14-year-old. Or an 18-year-old. We better put this down here for good measure. Okay, we got to build some kind of exhaust system here. 29, 22, and 5. What topping do you want? Pepperoni. It's not a pizza without pepperoni. Tony's rules. Nah, I'm just, saying if you're doing a traditional pizza. We've tried making some homemade pizza. It ain't worth a damn. And my wife is an excellent cook. Not for that, no. But pizza's one of those things that people are all over the place at. There's one pizza place in town that I really like. It's been here forever, and it's like a Chicago deep dish, and it's excellent. The crust is just superb. And it's like real tomato sauce with like big old chunks of tomato, for those of us that are tomato lovers. And the only thing we put on it is broccoli and pepperoni and, cheese. And the broccoli, you do it right because it goes in the oven and it gets, caramelized. And, we like all our vegetables, so it's excellent. Now, this other place down the street, they do one, what do they call it? It has a name of a Italian town, I'm pretty sure. Anyways, it's just, it has no sauce, which I'd rather have no sauce if you're going to have crappy sauce. I'd rather have sauce, but it has no sauce. Well, it has olive oil, the building block of all good civilizations. Olive oil, prosciutto, arugula, and Parmesan. I think that's all it has on it. It is superb. The store around here sells pizza dough, and I add pizza sauce and cheese, bake it at 420 about 15 minutes. Costs so much less than a pizza joint. It is, but I couldn't do that. That's technically cooking. That's outside my skill set. That's technically cooking. I can do assembling things. Like I can make a mean salad, but I've had no luck with pizza. And it's not something that, well, as I say that, I ate pizza for dinner because it was leftover pizza that the girls, my daughter had some friends over the other day and there was leftover. And we have an air fryer, and air fryer makes everything better. And I'm like, well, I might as well eat it. It's not what I wanted to eat, but I have no problem eating leftovers. Like, we're not throwing food away. I have no interest in cooking. I just don't. I do this. I don't need another hobby that takes forever. And I can appreciate things that are cooked well. But I'm like, I just have no interest in doing it. I lived alone 11 years. Got to eat cold pizza, that's the best. Yes. I don't know, reheated pizza's better. Reheated in the air fryer pizza? That's some good shit. What do you eat? You eat cold spaghetti too? I can't stand eating stuff that's like a meat thing like spaghetti or something like that with a spoon. Like, no, you don't eat meat things with a spoon unless it's chili. Actually, chili, you just get some of those scoop things and you just have a field day. What are those tortilla scoop things? But you know, people do that all the time. You know, they'll be like, "Oh, I'm the one that does all the cooking." I said, "Well, what about your miniatures?" "Oh, I have somebody paint them." I'm like, "I have somebody cook for me. I'm painting my own damn miniatures." I get it. You don't have time for everything, but people are really particular about pizza and sandwiches. Some place will be like, "Oh, this is the best sandwiches." You go there and like, "What the hell? You mean you guys don't even toast your bread? What the heck? I mean, I could make a freaking sandwich without toasted bread from at home. What are you talking about?" Okay. This goes inside of there, huh? Crazy Germans. Why even show that piece if you're going to cover it? No wonder you bastards lost the war. What I watched this morning. I had to take the girls to the airport soon, and I'm like, well, let me just go to the Starbucks and have some coffee and kill time before I had to go to work, because I had to drop them off super early. And I was watching the Chieftain on the Matilda. What a tight ass fit that tank was. His videos are very informative. I just don't like his delivery. He could have a lot, you can have a lot more fun than that. You know, his delivery reminds me of Dale Dye, kind of. You know, Dale Dye, the guy that's in all the, he's the U.S. captain, and does an advisor for all these war movies and stuff like that. It's like he's just too serious, all the time about everything. It's like, have a little bit more fun. History's more fun than that. You don't need to make fun of everything, but I don't know. Maybe the military does that. That's not true. I know lots of people in the military that have a good sense of humor. I'm cutting those things off that don't belong there. I wonder how much of the Chieftain is stuff he knows and how much is the stuff that his producer, whatever, digs up. And he's just, I bet it's probably 50-50. You can't be an expert on every vehicle. But I do want to do some aircraft at some point. Mainly for nostalgia purposes. I mean, I haven't built a plane in almost 40 years. Okay, this has so much flash on there. I'm going to let it, I just want to make sure that the holes are lined up. it's dry, we can scrape that clean. Here's 32. I just throw it up there, and it gives you no spot where it goes. I'm guessing it probably goes right there. That's probably where I'm going to put it and drill that thing out, and because this is going to be this make-believe machine gun. Honestly, it looks like some gun that they would have used in like the underwater scene in Thunderball or something like that. It looks like a harpoon. Any Bond fans? Come on, everybody's got to be a Bond fan. Goes like that. Gun shield. Okay, so this sits underneath it. This is going to your Bond fan. Born the year Dr. No premiered. I was watching them in order because I've seen them all except 3. 3 or 4? I've seen them all except... I haven't seen the last one. I haven't seen Quantum of Solace. I haven't seen GoldenEye. I don't know why I haven't seen that one, but I hadn't. You know, I didn't catch it in the movie theater, and I haven't caught it any time that's been on or anything. So I think that's all the ones I haven't seen. The thing I don't understand about the Bond movies is almost universally. Well, everybody has a favorite one, and I think it's based on when you're born. You know, I grew up watching them on TV, and the current Bond when we were on TV was Roger Moore. So, you know, I don't dislike Sean Connery by any stretch of the imagination, and his Bond's okay, you know, but he's definitely my second favorite one. But they all have their merits, you know, they all have their merits. But what I don't understand, the movie that is almost universally, and just like pizza, everybody's got an opinion on Bonds and with Bonds and the Bond movies. The movie that's universally considered, almost by everyone, except myself, as the best one, and I don't understand why, is Goldfinger. I don't understand why. I mean, I get that, okay, you like Sean Connery is the best Bond. Okay, I get it. He's the original one. Okay, all right, I get all that. But why Goldfinger? It is an asinine, stupid plot. It has a henchman that's moronic, throwing a fucking hat. It just has a lot of things going for it that I find are silly, and and it's not a comedy movie, unlike Moore likes to do in a lot of his. So I don't like Goldfinger at all. Yeah, I don't like that at all. As a matter of fact, that's probably my least favorite Connery one. I like Thunderball. I thought Thunderball was pretty good. But anyway, so we're, a hero is only as good as the villain is bad. Okay, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Who's the best Bond villain then? Because there's some that I thought are really good, irrespective of how bad the movie is. I think Christopher Walken is an excellent villain, but he's just crazy, you know. So crazy helps, you know. Telly Savalas can't make a villain worth a damn. You know, I hate it. I didn't like that movie. Actually, I went in and I just watched them all recently, or I made it all the way through the first Dalton one, watching them all in order, just for yucks, with my brother and my mom earlier this year, and we need to pick it back up again. And you know, there's ones I don't remember anything of. I don't remember any. I didn't remember anything about On Her Majesty's Secret Service, but I've seen it one time before watching it recently. I'd seen Doctor No, I think, one time since watching it recently. I only watched them whenever on TV. They didn't show them. I didn't get to see them. We need to get a drill bit here. As cool as the base was in the Japanese volcano, we were all, and the funny thing is we're all watching them, and we all kind of have the same opinion of them. And that was kind of an interesting chain of events. Three of us are watching them, and we all kind of have the same opinion of all the ones that we're watching. Like, you know, why did they even bother turning them Japanese? Who cares if it's culturally inappropriate? It was stupid. It was an unnecessary thing in the plot. Like, it didn't really serve any purpose, other than like, hey, we got this special effect that we can make this British guy seem like he's Japanese. All right, let's throw that in the movie. Just seems silly. All right, Pin Vice. Because people can remember it. Yeah, he's a shitty villain. And I can't stand that henchman. That's just ridiculous. Where the hell did my pin vise go? I mean, this is a little one. Oh, this is the... I'm an idiot. The one I thought was going to be terrible, and I actually liked it. Now we didn't watch the Never Say Never Again redone. I don't know. They didn't want to see it. I'm like, let's just watch it in the order. It actually came in before Octopussy, I think, is what it was. Battle of the Bonds, the same in '83, and We skipped that one. I thought the Diamonds Are Forever was going to be a dog, and yeah, it was goofy, but I genuinely enjoyed it. I genuinely enjoyed it, and there's parts of it that I remember. It's like, oh, that's the movie that has somebody in a casket. Like, there's shit that you remember, like somebody survives a casket type thing. You remember as being as a kid. Okay, so this is going to go in here. Let's see how this is going to fit in place. Like that. Do you have a top view of this bastard? Yeah, that's exactly where it goes. Just for some reason, they don't have that hole. It looks like a plug for like an oil filter. But Goldfinger is almost universally. If you're surfing around, you come across best Bond movies ranked. You'll scroll all the way to the bottom. Goldfinger's always number 1 or number 2. Always. Back with homemade pizza. Nordic, what's your favorite Bond movie? And you're not allowed to say I don't like any of them. I fell asleep in From Russia with Love. It was super, 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 super slow. I mean, I knew the first one was going to be slow, and I was actually okay. Okay, that fits in there all right. Let's put this little... Actually, like the first couple Daniel Craig Bond. I don't have a problem with Daniel Craig. I actually like him. I actually don't have a problem with him being Bond. I just don't like how they relaunched it. And I didn't see the last one. I did see Casino. I don't like Max Mikkelsen or whatever the hell his name is at all. I don't like him. I don't like him at all. He bugs me. I only saw it one time. But I don't mind Blonde Bond. He's all right. Okay, is this stupid exhaust thing put together yet? Blofeld comes close to being your favorite villain. He's the only one to kill Blonde's wife. He's tenacious, repeatedly managed to escape and stay threatening. Yeah, but which Blofeld? The newest one? Telly Savalas? Whatever that guy is. Donald Pleasance? Or the faceless one in the wheelchair that goes for a ride on the helicopter. Gets dropped down a steam pipe. Gets dropped down the chimney. I like Telly Savalas, but that's the wrong role for him. Why Goldfinger? We were just mentioning that. Everybody loves Goldfinger. Why? It doesn't make any sense to me. I can see why people like Sean Connery the best. There's just no, I mean, I don't. He's number 2 for me. And I told you why. And I like Sean. But why that movie? See, I don't like that actor. I don't like that Austrian dude, whatever he is. He's like too... I don't know. He's just too... I don't know. He doesn't seem evil enough. You know? Maybe I just don't like Austrian artists. Okay, this thing is going to go like this. But I was saying earlier, if they do like a top 25 Bond movies in order, 1 or 2 is always Goldfinger. And I'm like, I don't think he's a good villain. I think the henchman is absurd. He's probably my least... No, there's a lot of bad henchmen. But, a tosser? A freaking Japanese tosser. Come on. At least okay, you don't use guns. All right, well, go beat up somebody. And I like most of the movies. Okay, we're going into the land of things with no instructions. These plates actually look like they got a lot of detail. I don't know if they're accurate or not. We're not going to worry about that. A lot of people complain like, oh, well, the shirts in her they're the right shape, but they're too thick. So I replaced them with, I ain't got time to do that. I'm not replacing plates. I'm not replacing plates with styrene. No, see, he didn't do it for me. I felt like he just didn't do it. He didn't do it for me. But, you enjoyed the movie more than I did because I just felt like he was just kind of being a sideways little shit. No, the guy that was evil was freaking, whatchamacallit in Schindler's List. He nailed that shit. Ralph Fiennes, he freaking nailed that shit. But I didn't really care for Inglourious Bastards, even though I knew how it was going to end, and it was just a tongue-in-cheek type of thing, you know. I have not seen the last Bond movie, but I've heard everybody says the only thing that's worth it is the Cuban girl. I'm probably going to agree with you, especially because she's awfully cute. But you know, all they got to do is just to make it all work is just it's not a person, it's a role, you know, so they can cast different people at it. But you know, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen Quantum of Solace. I haven't seen Goldeneye, which I should watch, which is coming up soon on the watch thing. I'm too away from it. I feel like I've seen parts of it. I just haven't seen it. I didn't catch it in the movie theater, and I don't think I've caught the whole thing since it's been out. And everybody tells me that's a very good one, and I believe them, and I'll probably enjoy it. But I just hadn't seen it. Ralph Fiennes is a marvel. Yeah, I kind of like. Except, you mean in general or just in that role? So Ralph Fiennes' scenario happened. Goldeneye was your favorite when you were a kid. Yeah. I'm watching The English Patient, which, you know, the reason I want to watch it, not because it's some girly movie, it's because it's a World War II movie, right? World War II nuts want to see World War II stuff every chance to get. And I don't remember anything about the movie other than I never care what happened to him. But anyhow, there's this one scene where the girl that's in it, I'm watching this with a friend of mine on video. And there's this scene that happens where the girl character is a nurse or something like that. And she goes and runs off in a place that is like in a war zone or something like that. Runs off, and I'm like, and she's attached to some Indian troops or something like that. They're like in Italy or something like that. And as soon as she runs off, the first thing out of my mouth in an Indian accent is, "Good, careful, woman! You're running into a minefield. You're going to blow yourself up." And word for word, 3 seconds afterwards, the Indian character said the exact same thing that I did. It was epic. That's all I remember. I don't know that I've seen him in a lot of stuff. Used to play the game all the time in the Nintendo 64, yeah. When you get an AK and start blasting people. There's that game I used to play, Counter-Strike. You end up getting one of those AKs and it's all over the place. It is just loud as hell, you know? Shooting people up in the bathroom. Yeah, that game was, I don't know about ahead of its time, but it was influential when it came out. Definitely influential when it came out. 4 people play on one screen. I knew somebody else that had it. I'm not a Nintendo fan. I don't like their games tend to be way too pacifist for my liking. But that game actually has really good music. It has really good music. That Nintendo 64 controller was something else, right? Big old. I don't think it was actually that uncomfortable. It's kind of unique. Got points for uniqueness. I never had a console. I had an Atari 2600 way after it was popular. Back when everybody had more modern things. And then I didn't get it. And then I got an Xbox around 2000. 2002, something like that. 2002. I haven't bought the new, whatever the hell it's called now, the Series X or whatever the hell. They had that. They couldn't keep them on the shelves after COVID, and I'm like, well, I'm not getting one. I don't need to spend $500 on one that doesn't do anything better than the other one that I already have. That would just render something I have useless. Okay, this stupid exhaust. Looks like it goes here. There's an old video game for the original Xbox. I don't remember what it was called. I think it was actually called 13. That kind of reminded me of GoldenEye in a way that the plot of it is you're this guy who's almost like a Manchurian candidate. You go and you assassinate somebody important. I forget if it's the president or something like that. And you don't remember anything, and you were framed basically, and you have to kind of figure out what it is. I was never able to finish it because I rented it, but it's cell animation. It was all done, like a comic book style, and I thought it was a pretty cool game. It's called XIII 13. Got the Xbox when Morrowind game of the year, got with it. Got it for holiday gift. Oh. And that's when I realized I didn't like Morrowind. I'll go into this town that every building looks the same. Talk to the sky that's, it's not for me. It's not for me. But I'm the exception. It was a very popular game. But I don't think Bethesda's ever made anything that really appeals to me. I think they were the ones that made the Baldur's Gate, which I actually liked quite a bit. The computer game Baldur's Gate. Aim for the eyes, boo! I played it quite a bit. And then it got too hard. I was like, it was too linear for me. And I would encounter these elves or something like that had bows, that had magic arrows, and would just crucify me. And I was like, I just couldn't. And I'm like, after you die in the same spot 7 or 8 times, you're like, all right, I got better things to do. This is just pissing me off, But I liked the game up until that point. Eight A is a little part that, it's just silly to put that on there. Okay. All right, we need. Oh, it cuts a little bit of the track there. Oh. Well, that doesn't have a whole lot of detail. All right, let's put the little. Yeah, I'll admit when my opinion is not the popular opinion. And it still doesn't change what I like, There's things I don't like no matter how popular they are. I don't care how good you think 28mm figures are. I'm not buying any. I'm not painting any. Mr. Joe, live from Historicon. How goes it? Somebody was claiming on one of the Facebook groups there was a really big showing. I hope it is. It's not like I want it to die or anything. I can tell you one thing. If it goes back to the shithole in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, at the Host, I'm fine with it being in Pennsylvania. At the Host, I won't go back. I will never go to the Host again. I don't care if they drop a bomb on that place. They have a crater. The crater is 60 feet deep. They dig everything out, all the bad juju and stank. I'm still not going back to that place. Which is a shame because there's a nice brewery across the street, but they're not going to catch me on that one again. Scoop all that stank out. No, the vendor hall is just too damn far away from. It's not that not a walking issue. It's just you just waste too much time going over there. Oh, there's extra little track there too, huh? Ooh. Pretty fair. Okay. Well, I don't want it to not do well. But I'm also fine not going. I didn't have a hell week leading up to it where I had to get a bunch of shit done just to be able to leave. That's a blessing. No, I definitely need vacation days this year. We're going to try to go to Europe this year, and I'm going to have to help my daughter move into her dorm in about a month or so, and we may have to move. So, and we're just moving locally. But we'll see if that pans out. And we've been here 21 years. If I do move, my room will definitely be, not that there's anything wrong with it, it's just going to be more useful. We're going to put another one of these tables here. We'll have 2 tables. No, we're moving because there's a certain house that we want to move into that we're getting a good deal on, and it's just kind of an unusual situation. So if that pans out, it pans out. If not, it doesn't, Turnout scene a little lighter in my opinion, and the PL scene a little kind of blah. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people just, after COVID, they're like, well, we haven't gone to a convention in so long, and they're like, well, do we even really need to? And I'm sure there's still people running around with their heads cut off, worried about being around other people. Well, it's telling me to put it like that. I'm going to look at some pictures because, let's see, should I not glue this in then? Let me pull it out. Let's see if we can find some cool pictures of a Hetzer. Hetzer's got a Hetz. Hetzer tank. It's not a tank. Hetzer's from Stockholm. There you go. Is that the one you were talking about? It is a cute vehicle. And there's no doubt about it. Cute little Nazi bastard. Okay, that seems to be a common place to have an armor piece. We're going to go ahead and move forward with it. Yeah. Did talk to a guy at the flea market and said that C and B miniatures sold to another person. Yeah. Were they not at the show? Was C and B not at the show? I didn't do anything with the stuff I bought from them. Well, first they were like not charging for shipping, and then they stopped doing that. Like, we're only going to sell at shows, and then, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it wasn't working out for them. They were not here. Ooh. Nothing for all those Art de la Guerre players to buy. I am assuming that Art de la Guerre had all the 15mm tournament players. Every convention I've been to, every Historicon I've been to, since 2006, every year, there was less and less and less stuff that I'm interested in buying. Now, with that said, I'll never play Art de la Guerre. Me neither. I don't know if it's for the same reason I won't. But, you know, I was just doing Ancients and Medievals, so there's just, every year there was one less Ancients and Medievals vendor. You know, the first year, Old Glory was there in 2006. Then next year, Old Glory didn't show up. Then there was somebody who was carrying museum miniatures. Then 2 years later, they didn't show up. So I get it. It costs them a lot of money, and if people aren't buying stuff, it's a fool's errand, but there's a guy in flea market selling 20mm painted of Germans and Americans. What would I do with painted figures? No, I probably would have found a way to buy some tanks if I was there, but I don't need anything. It's stuff that's available. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. Well, we're going to make it fit. Actually, you asked me if they had something I was interested in. I'm actually going to send you something, and if they have it, let me know. I doubt they'll have it, but I don't need anything. But if they have this certain thing, Joe, this is something you can't find anymore. So I'll send you over a picture of what it is. Aside from ripping off Barker's work without the credit of the game is not my like. I don't care for any argument. It's just abstract. It's the game's. I gave DX fan. I liked that side of DVA was Field of Glory, which I still have the books for. Yeah, have you played the Field of Glory computer game? I think it's pretty decent. I mean, there's things that it handles pretty well. I don't care for the way it handles generals, which doesn't really handle them. But I played it fair enough. Yeah, Field of Glory didn't last long. Field of Glory, they had a Historicon, I think 2 years, and that's it. It just, people went away. And last year, there was a shit ton of people playing Art de la Guerre. A shit ton, like 40. And, you know, in 5 years, they won't be playing that. So people are just nomadic. They'll just go on to somewhere else, you know. And go on to something else. I mean, I went on to something else, but I stayed there for 18 freaking years. And I'm like, okay, well, it's just kind of pissing up a rope now. And honestly, I didn't do it because it wasn't popular at Historicon. It just, I'm tired of having not really arguments, just problems that keep coming up in the game over and over and over again that you can't solve. And I'm like, Now I'm done with this. It's keeping me from doing this. And I am a lot happier in Nordic, but it's not because the main reason I'm a lot happier is because I don't have to get anything done by a certain amount of time. I don't have to be like, oh, I got to paint this Hetzer. I don't feel like painting tonight. So I don't. I build things. Or, maybe I don't work on anything at all. I want to play video games. I just do that. Work has just gotten way too busy. And it's just not worth it anymore. And we played. What did we play the other day? Lion Rampant, and it's decent. It's not enough that I'm going to build like armies for it. I'll play like my stuff when the temperature cools off. I'm not going to go play in a shed in 90-degree freaking weather. F that. 90-degree weather inside, no. All week it's been close to 120. Not often you see new 15 millimeter figures. Yeah, I just watched something and I almost made a comment on it, and I decided I wasn't going to because people that don't know me, I don't like getting into arguments on the internet. I'm very opinionated, and people don't. Doesn't really matter what my opinion is, Just like I don't give a shit what some other people's opinions are, but there was this video that they did, the War Games Illustrated, and it was I forget what the name of the video was. It just came out like minutes before, earlier this morning. I was sitting at Starbucks. I just dropped the girls off at the airport, just kind of killing time. And they had these almost like the figures that were painted, and they were shown in the last version of War Games Illustrated. And they were on a turntable, turning them around, and they were all really well painted. But every single freaking one of them was 28 millimeter, with the exception of they had some stuff for Cruel Seas. Every single thing was 28 millimeter. And if you like 28 millimeter, that's cool. If 28 millimeter was the only gaming there was to do and painting, I wouldn't do it. I would stop painting figures because I just don't like that scale. So, and if you like it, cool. But, it was like everything was geared towards that and nothing else. No 6s, no 15s, no 10s. 10 millimeter, I think would be a good scale if there was more variety of stuff. I would do Ancients in 10 if there was like more stuff. The new Museum Z-Sculpts look nice. Will be interesting to see how they compare to the renders. They don't look anything like the renders. Joe has bought several armies of them, and they look great. And that's a problem. I don't know how they, the renders are almost like done in Uber Games Workshop style. They're way over the top, hefty, and stumpy, but their real figures look great. Joe has 2 or 3 armies worth of them. And when he told me he'd gotten them, I'm like, oh man, those are going to look really weird. And then he was like, oh, so it was like he hit it out of the park with that. And then, after you find out, well, that's how it is. And I even contacted the vendor. I'm like, if your figures are significantly different than are shown online, you probably need to not show the renders and show the finished figures, because you're probably going to be pissing off some customers. I didn't word it that way, but I basically, it's like you need to have accurate stuff of your figures. And he just basically blew me off. And I'm like, and I like museum stuff. I like their old stuff, and I like their new stuff, but you can't go and look at their new stuff and think that that's what you're going to get, because you're not going to get it. So you're losing some sales on people that are like, I don't like those guys, they're stumpy, and then they're actually not. They're very good figures. Or maybe some people get them and like, oh, I want stumpy guys. Oh, well, they look like normal figures. What the hell? But their stuff is very nice. But, you know, 28mm figures sell, I guess. I mean, I'm not buying any, but... Man, my stomach's having a concert. Might just be the Blue Moon, the ones that you have for AWI, because the ancient ones that I have are okay. Oh, I'm sorry, the Renaissance ones I have are okay. So that might just be the ones you have. Yep, that was my stomach. Adopted a dog. I ain't got time for pets. If somebody's going to take a shit in the middle of the living room, it's going to be me, by God. I'm gonna have to be the one cleaning it up. Might as well be me. I didn't grow up with any pets, so. I got you guys, man. I don't need any pets to entertain me. You have some powerful freaking earphones. I'm gonna call up my neighbor and tell him to have a belch or something like that next door and see if you hear it. Well, that one fit in a lot better. So I have my earbuds, I think, died on me, or at least one of them did. You know, I use them to go to the gym, and it's pretty much what they're for. I don't really use them for anything other than that. My Galaxy Buds. One of them is... So I got somebody bringing me a pair, and once I get those and those work, I'm probably going to watch a video and take mine apart. I'll take my contacts out and we'll take them apart. What's the worst thing that can happen? But the right one works. The left one just doesn't work at all. It works like it's at the lowest volume setting when it's at the highest. So... But if I do have to replace them, I did have them for like 3 years. It's not like, you know, I used them a lot. It's not like it's something that the first time you use them, they crapped out. I mean, I don't want to have to replace them, but shit happens. At least it's something that you used. I just wish models weren't as expensive as they are. I was all looking, I'm like, oh, I wouldn't mind having one of those. 30 bucks? What? No. I'm not paying 30 bucks for that. $30 for 1/72nd scale. Okay, that attaches there and it goes underneath that thing. Okay, cool. Well, unfortunately, I have a lot of unusual models from unusual companies, which are not the best quality to put together. So these these issues I've had with the tracks could be common type of things. Maybe not necessarily with tracks, but with other stuff. So watching you build and paint, to paraphrase Agrippa, almost thou persuadeth me World War II. Hey, do whatever you like, you know. I stopped doing World War II for many reasons. And the cool thing about not doing World War II is it allowed me to learn about all kinds of warfare in nations that I only had a cursory glance of. Now, I've always been into history, and all of my electives in college were always history. So it's not like I didn't know anything about Charlemagne. But I never war gamed. I didn't know that his army was what percentage supposedly mounted troops and that kind of stuff. Okay, so, and so I got to learn more about stuff, and I enjoy learning as wargaming. I mean, it's part of it, you know. So had I not gotten into this, I wouldn't have learned all that extra stuff about periods that weren't my first love, so to speak. So why did they wait this long to put the barrel on this thing? These silly Italians. I wish there was a way to find out. There probably is. How old this model is, how old this original particular kit is, because it's sloppy in some areas. It's got decent detail, and it's really like the back of this is really pretty crisp, but it's all over the place. It's all over the place. I can only imagine what the Matilda looks like. It's the only kid in town for the Matilda 2. Any of you guys Matilda experts? Because I got a question for you if you are. Show me the box real fast. What are you talking about? Box to what? Got you. This isn't the original Eschi box. The Eschi model. The ESCI. This is they got the, Italeri got the Eschi molds. But what's the original date of the, see this says Italeri 2014, but this thing is an old, I had the original Eschi one. That's probably like the early 80s, late 70s. I guess on ScaleMates it probably would say it, wouldn't it? Man, you could spend a lifetime on ScaleMates just looking at stuff. Okay, this one's like this. Oh, and where the hell does a periscope connect to? I want to have that thing up. That thing's kind of cool. Set 1977? Okay. I'm gonna see if I can get away with putting that in there, because that would be pretty cool to have this thing. Hello. You know, if you're doing 1/72nd scale, you got scale mates, you got on the way, and you got the Henk of Holland. And between all three of those, you can usually find out, you know, what's included in the kits, what decals, that kind of stuff. All right, so how the hell am I going to be able to put this in here? What is it going to attach to so it stays up? I may not be able to do that. Let's put this in. Let's just take it one step at a time. We know this is going to be closed like this. Let's go ahead and put that one in there. 1983 new tooling. This is pretty piss poor. Yeah. "14-year-old my ass." There ain't no 14-year-old doing this. There ain't no 14-year-old doing this. Hey, headphones. Hey, Captain Headphones. I'll make the thing out of freaking plastic. Wouldn't be the first time I had to do that. I got to do that on like 4 234-85s. And I'm not scared either. I'm going to attach it from this side. God, it just doesn't want to. Well, I'm not going to put a false bottom in it now. This thing's sealed up. I was following the directions and the order it said to do things in. I may just have to make something for it. You're going to need a drink after this. I don't speak rattling pieces. What is that called? AMSR? AMSR? ASMR? Get some Asian girl to whisper to you and then rattle pieces in your ear. No fuck it up, okay? Okay, no fuck it up. Persistence, one of my sayings. Persistence is the key to victory. You want to accomplish something? Don't give up. If you give up, you won't accomplish it. Oh, it's an alternative. I think I'm going to make it closed. This has got nothing to attach to. God, it looks cool though. Never fall instructed, especially one of these kits. All right, so let's try this. There is no do or do not. Now you're quoting crazy religious extremist. I wouldn't make a very good Jedi. I'm way too passionate for that shit. Another vehicle I don't let nobody touch. I don't want to play with Hetzer. Don't fucking touch it. You're Koreota. I know. Religious extremist. Jedis are religious extremists. Now, the problem we're going to have is this. If this mother falls in there, okay, we can have it open like that. That'll work. That'll work. That looks pretty cool, man. Hello! All right, what else we got? It's obsessed with me putting these little knickknacks here in the back. I'm not going to put them. I'm not going to put those reinforcing things. That's just annoying little things. The machine gun actually doesn't look that bad. Oh, and of course, now the last piece to go on. Hello, Mrs. Doubtfire. Hello! She said, Nazi loader on a... I guess that's the loading position, or maybe it's the commander's position on a Nazi tank. It's not a tank. It's Destroyer. Panzerjäger. Actually, Jagdpanzer. The Panzerjäger has no armor. This thing actually has pretty good armor for what it is. Oh, you're going to make me do it like that? You rat bastardio. We're going to have to drill that thing out. It's a drive-by fruiting. Oh, I don't remember. Was that in the movie? Man, it's kind of ugly. Why did he even give you this to do? You sadistic Italian bastards. Checked a piece of fruit that hit the back of Pierce Brosnan's head and he was drive-by fruit. I forgot Pierce Brosnan was in that. Robin Williams was supposedly, you probably already know this, a Warhammer player. Well, that'd be a fun fucking game, wouldn't it? I'd play Warhammer then. We got to make sure he's medicated first. And not on, Peruvian marching powder. We're going to have to buff that thing out after it's secured. Okay. Hetzer's got a Hetz. I just realized, does this thing have decals? Yeah, here they are. I can make one for the Polish Revolt. Yeah, we won't be doing that shit. I don't think I'll use any of these numbers. Alright, I'm gonna go use the little boy's room. I'll be right back. I like it when I'm in the house all alone. There's literally only one light on, and it's this one. It's like I'm nowhere else in the house, so why would a light be on? Okay. I'll keep them things, and these figures suck, but we'll put these in here for now. And the Hetzy's done. Instructions can go where the instructions go. No, I'm not putting together the other King Tiger right now. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I think I'm going to paint the first one before I decide what I'm going to do with it. I don't want to buy a detail kit for it. It's not worthy. It's not worthy. Let's finish up this Czech command tank. Yeah, this thing is just a freaking abortion. It needs the tracks on the side of the turret. Like, they literally were put on the factory that way. I just don't know what to do about it. I almost need to get like another King Tiger and use separate tracks that they have left over for it to complement that. That may be the way forward, but it's not something I'm going to give a whole lot of thought to right now. We don't need this. No. leave it here now. Let me make sure I don't have a... Oh, hold up. All right, had to go switch the clothes. Forgot to do that. Okay. This, it's got photo etch, your favorite. These instructions are terrible. Yeah, so I got a lot of stuff that is challenging to build. What else do I have up here that isn't going to be a challenge to build? Pretty much everything's going to be a challenge to build. It's all good. I can handle it. He also was a big Dungeons and Dragons player. He didn't play Dicey Depths? No Dicey Depths for Robin Williams? Yeah, these instructions are terrible. There's all kinds of stuff that's just pointing at things that doesn't, you know, it's just a soup sandwich. It's like, okay, let's get the big pieces on. Oh, and I did the cleanup. I did find the book that I had on the Czech 38. I actually still had it in my backpack when I traveled to New York. This is where I picked this thing up. The Panzer 38 versus BT7. This is the one I was looking for because in case there's any of course it doesn't show the other side. Well, this is an house D. I'm not even sure which one this one is. This is a C. All right, well, let's just kind of plug along as we go. We're going to encounter something we don't know where it is. We'll have to punt on it. Okay, the radio antenna is going to be like the last damn thing I'm going to put on because we don't want anything interfering with that. All right. So this is going to go here. And then there's a jack. Looks like it sits on it. Let's go ahead and get that ready. So I had an epiphany, Nordic. I've got a bunch of extra little bottles that I got, and I've used one. This is the one I used to do the transfer over of the lead belcher, which was a mistake because it ended up getting too watery. But I did learn about a couple of the products that I use and adding them to this and that I use on my own. But I have a lot of more of these little bottles. So I think what I'm going to do is next time I spray what do you call it? The polyurethane Vallejo surface primer. I'm going to go ahead and mix the 3-to-1 ratio in here and see if I get better results with it. And see if that works. I thought about today, I'm like, why? I got tons of those little bottles. Why can't I just do that? And keep it from freaking jamming every time I turn around. To me, it has a nice 35th Czech 38 that came out a couple of years ago. Well, they had an original one, didn't they? Is it just a totally different model? Did they refurbish it? I am the most ignorant of Czech 38 model. I couldn't tell you what a Czech 38. Yeah, I got nothing to lose, except a little bit of surface primer. And that's like the perfect thing to mix it in. See how it goes, Okay, this is going to sit on top of that. Okay, cool. And there's piece 1. I don't know what the hell piece 1 is there. Oh, if it's one of those rhomboid things, I'm not going to be putting the rhomboid things on. And that's exactly what it is. It's one of these rhomboids. The rhomboid numberings that they used, and they were in France and Poland and stuff like that. I don't like how they look. And some of the vehicles had them in Russia, but they quickly did away with them and went in a different direction. Well, we got access to all this stuff now. So let's pull out Encyclopedia of German Tanks of World War II. This is the the holy grail of all things on here, and see what the Befles Panzerwagen. A Flampanzer Hetzer. Got to get really close. Yeah, this is the holy grail of B, C, and D. 325 of them were produced, January to November 1940. I bet they're listed differently. The command one. French AFVs, Italian AFVs captured, semi-tracked. They may not have them listed separately. This is stuff that was useful before the internet. This was the internet. Doesn't have them listed on here. That's no good. Throw the book out. Throw the book out. Let's go grab our trusty internet. PZKW 38T PZBFWG. All right, here's the model that we're talking about. Super Hobby. Who the hell makes this one? Okay, it looks like it does not have a whole machine gun. It was, you could do it either way. I'm going to go ahead and make it without one. So we go ahead and glue that part on there. Yeah, these cheap nippers are exactly that. They're cheap nippers. They're not very good. I'm looking forward to getting the good ones tomorrow. We'll do a review on them. Do you have a pair, or you were just commenting that they're supposed to be very good? You know, one of those things, if I'm going to get them, the sooner I get them, the more different models I can use them on. Okay, no home machine gun for you. Here's one that has the correct side of the vehicle. Charlie's, and a brand. You ever heard of a brand, 1/35th scale model called Charlie's Plastic Models? Got that there, got that there. Where does this little piece go? This is piece 4. I heard good things about these models, but I'm not super impressed. It's the instructions that are poor. There's no locator holes. That doesn't fit there. Okay, well, one of the things coming up is something I am definitely not looking forward to. And that is assembling the mounts for the freaking antenna. I wish this one was photo etch. We already got the horn on there. Oh, I actually have a couple locator holes for this pry bar. Yep. That's good. How many 38Ts do I have? This would be the fourth one. Sorry, I have a lead one. It's not very good from Rapham. Or is it Skytrex? I have 3 Plastic Soldier Company ones. They're just standard battle tanks. And then I have this one. Oh, I gotta take a phone call. Actually, it's probably relatively late. I'm gonna go ahead and shut down for the night. And we'll be back in the morning. Because I gotta take this phone call, so it's not really worth coming back. And all I gotta do is the antenna. And photo etch stuff that doesn't even tell you where it goes on here. Probably wraps this little thing around. But anyhow, thanks for stopping. It's going to be the command tank. Yeah. But anyhow, thanks for stopping by. And nothing but check 38s. So check 38 variants. Yeah, nice suspension on them anyways. Hey, these tracks were a lot easier to put together than these. It works. Okay, folks, we'll see you tomorrow morning.